Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the Partnership Lake Houston Atascocita BizCom. I'm Deborah Rose Miller, owner and broker of Rose Realty and your 2020 Atascocita BizCom chair. And we are excited to have you virtual today. A little housekeeping before we get started. For all of our Zoom guests, we will notice that you are muted, please, and that all guests will remain muted throughout the program. If you have any questions or you need assistance, please use your Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen. If you are joining us on Facebook Live, you can submit a question to the comment section and we will do our best to transfer it over to our official Zoom meeting platform. As always, we have a packed Atascocita BizCom agenda, so we will do our best to get to your questions, but if they don't get answered today, we will get back to you. As you can see by our list of our speakers for today, we, like I said, have a packed house. We have updates for our superintendent, Dr. Elizabeth Fagen, on the fall semester and the new elementary schools. Our Atascocita High School principal, Bill Daniels, is with us. Jenna Armstrong, the CEO and president of the Lake Houston Partnership, will discuss the future plans for the organization. Lake Houston Area Nonprofit Alliance Representative Millie Garrison is going to give us an update on the impact the pandemic has had on food distribution to those in need. Harris County Precinct 4 Captain Medina, is going to discuss crime and safety in our area. Our Chief Economic Development Officer, Mark Mitchell, will give us an update from the Texas A&M Corpus Christi survey on the impact of reopening amid this pandemic. And if we have enough time, we will still do those questions at the very end of the presentations. And we also have a little special Veterans Day presentation for you as well. Of course, this whole Atascocita BizCom would not be practical and not be able to be presented to you if it was not for our sponsors. So we definitely want to recognize them. Our presenting sponsors today will be Memorial Hermann Northeast and Rosewood Funeral Home. Our gold sponsors are HEB Atascocita, McCord Development, Generation Park, Redemption Square, and of course Whataburger Restaurants. Our silver sponsors is Frost Bank, K&S Sportswear, and your own Rose Realty. If your business is interested in being a sponsor, please contact the Chamber to let them know. Your sponsorship funds support the Partnership Lake Houston, which enables us to help businesses recover and succeed. Now more than ever, small businesses need the help, resources, and guidance of our Chamber. If your business has not been negatively impacted by this pandemic, please consider sponsoring a Chamber program or sponsor a fellow small business for a membership. Before we hear from our speakers, okay, we have a special presentation for you in honor of our Veterans Day with a fifth grader, the Boy Scouts troop number 926 from Eagle Springs Elementary. And immediately following, you will get to hear an amazing performance from the Atascocita High School Choir.
Color guard forward march. Color guard halt. Color guard prepare to post the colors. Color guard post the colors. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, one indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in reciting the Texas State Flag Pledge of Allegiance. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets and anthem of Thursday air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Awesome. Thank you, Boy Scout Troop number 926, and for that Atascocita High School Choir's wonderful presentation. Just kind of sets this tone for Veterans Day. What is it about this Texas pledge that we all struggle with? Anyway, the advantage of virtual, right? So let us kick off with one of our co-presenting sponsors today. We will hear from Memorial Hermann Northeast CEO, Justin Kendrick.
Hello, good afternoon, or still good morning here. Thanks again for the opportunity to be a presenting sponsor for this awesome event, and these are great ways for us to all come together still virtually. So today we wanted to take the opportunity to update and introduce you all to what we're super excited about is really the development and expansion of our GI program here. And so we've got Dr. Rashtak and Dr. Caravella here with us to introduce themselves, and they will be very well known throughout the community in a very short order. But again, we couldn't be more excited to be partnering together with our UT physician partners in building this tremendous program here at Memorial Hermann Northeast. So with that being said, I believe Dr. Rashtak and Dr. Caravella are on the line, and so I'll turn it over to Dr. Rashtak at this point.
Unmute. Click unmute.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My colleague and I are very excited to be here. We're trying to build a program. I tell you a little bit of background about myself. I did my training in internal medicine at UNLV, then I did the GI fellowship at Mayo Clinic Rochester. I worked as a faculty for 2 years in El Paso, Texas Tech program. Then I decided that I want to learn more advanced endoscopy, complex procedures. So I did 1 year of extra training for complex procedures such as EUS and ERCP at UT Houston. Finished that in July. Now we are here running the service for the GI, and our long-term goal here is to build an outpatient GI program, basically creating a center of interest, excellence in at the Humble area, northeast area of Houston, and we are very excited to be here. We are trying to do an evidence-based practice, research, education of mid-levels, and basically we have a partnership with the UT at the medical center. If needed, in terms of equipment or expertise or a second opinion, we can always, coordinate care for the patients at the medical center. Having said that, I don't know if Dr. Caravella has anything to add.
I'll say hello as well. Hi, I'm Asha Caravella. I did my internal medicine residency at the University of Texas at Houston. I actually worked as a internist for a few years, and then I wanted to go back and subspecialize in GI. So I did that and graduated this year. I'm a general gastroenterologist, whereas Dr. Rashtak does advanced endoscopy, ERCP, and EUS, which I don't do, but I do management of, reflux disorders, Barrett's esophagus, general gastrointestinal complaints, the abdominal bloating, discomfort, pain, evaluation of those symptoms, screening colonoscopies. I do also manage liver and pancreatic biliary issues. Dr. Rashtak has more expertise in pancreatic biliary, so likely those patients will, get directed to him. But we do manage liver issues, bleeding, encephalopathy. With the liver patients, though, there will be a certain point when it may be better for them to be in a transplant program, and we'll help to identify those patients appropriately to the medical center so that sooner. It's definitely to our advantage that we have that, backup at the medical center, and we can benefit from their expertise. And so
Thank you, Memorial Herman. Appreciate it. Kicking off our agenda today is going to be Dr. Fagen, our superintendent of Humble ISD. Dr. Fagen.
Thank you so much. We are very happy to be here to share some updates about Humble ISD. As everyone knows, this has been an unprecedented time, and we are doing everything that we know how to do, and some of it very differently than we've ever done it. So very proud of every single department in Humble ISD and the way that they have, as they always do, absolutely risen to the occasion, kept our focus on what is best for students, and worked through every challenge that we've been presented. So with that, I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. And let's see. Okay. I think, I don't know why it's not allowing me to present. There we go. All right. So first of all, as everyone knows, we started the year by offering all families 3 options. When you're presented with a global pandemic that impacts individuals very differently, depending on their personal health as well as the health of their families, we felt like the very best approach was to really empower every single parent and child to really do that, have that conversation with their medical providers, decide what is the very best pathway for us, what are the risks that we will be taking in both directions. And I think there's a lot of conversation around the risks of COVID, but there's also a lot of risk to children who are not on campus. And so we wanted to make sure that we did everything we could to make sure that every child who needs access to in-person learning, UIL activities like band and football and volleyball and all of those things, access to nurses, access to hot meals every day, access to athletic trainers. So every child who needed access to those things had that opportunity within the best of our abilities. At the same time, we recognize the risk to some families was simply too great for them to select on campus. And so we provided 2 other options, all online and then online plus UIL. And as you can see here, we have a very strong percentage of our students who are back on campus. That has continually increased as time has gone on. We started school on August 11th with virtual, and then we moved to all in-person for elementary, then an AB schedule in secondary, and eventually all in-person in secondary as well. And today we're very proud of the number of students who are participating in a myriad of things and doing pretty well. We have some challenges, not going to say that we don't, but doing pretty well. You may have seen Houston Chronicle articles about districts struggling with enrollment, that year over year, many districts are down as many as 10,000 students. That is not the case for Humble ISD, and I think it's really important for the community to be aware of that year over year, we're actually up in students. And so we continue to be a fast growth district, and we continue to be a destination district for families because this is a great, wonderful place for their children. The other thing you may have heard is that average daily attendance is down, and that school districts are concerned about that. Ours is really not down, less than 1%. And we're feeling very good about the average daily attendance of our students. We've had to make a lot of adjustments because virtual learners who are participating in what we call asynchronous learning, they don't sit in front of their computer for 8 hours a day and log on to each class. Instead, they're required to engage with the classes on their own schedule and to demonstrate that through Access and Schoology and other platforms. So we've had to do a lot of work on that, and you would think it would be a simple technology partnership. It wasn't initially. TEA has partnered with us so that Schoology and eSchool are better friends now, and we're actually taking quite a burden off our staff. We started the year with a huge burden on our teachers, and again, like I said, they have risen to every occasion. This is free and reduced lunch, and a lot of people are having this conversation because you may or may not know that free and reduced lunch numbers are a part of a lot of financial calculations for a student and for a school district. So if your enrollment's down and your ADA's down and your free and reduced down, you're going to have massive reduction in your overall budget. Our free and reduced lunch population is actually up. So none of these indicators that other districts have struggled with are an issue for us. And I just want our community to know that we are on very solid ground as a school district financially, and our learning course, our activities, all of these things. The other thing is a lot of folks were concerned that we were bringing back all of our elementary students. Lucy Schultz and her team did a fantastic job. Our elementary principals, I cannot sing their praises loud enough. Our fine arts folks who have moved things outside so the students still have access. You saw our wonderful Atascocita High School choir singing outside. We've really made those modifications necessary, and as a result, you will see in our graphs that are posted online every day that we really don't have very many cases, and the cases that do pop up are typically community spread cases where there were a group of people that did something over the weekend and they end up passing it amongst themselves. The other thing that we have seen is very, very little in the way of people being genuinely sick, or no, I mean, I'm not aware of any hospitalization. So it's been a great fall in our elementaries, and you can see here today we have literally a handful of cases across all of our elementary schools. We'll be open elementary school 30 next year. So this is 29 elementary schools. And the red bars, by the way, are staff. So you will see that in general, our students are COVID-free in our elementary campuses. And our middle school campuses are no different. We are seeing virtually none across the system, a handful here and there. And typically a parent shares with us, oh yes, we went to this Halloween party, or we went to this homecoming party, or we did this or that. And so so we are seeing some of those here and there. But again, I just want to really celebrate our teachers, our leaders on these campuses who are making this work. Also our operations department, you just have no idea the work they did over the summer, making sure that we're changing out filters, that we were reducing set points, that we were purging air out of buildings more often, the taking drinking fountains out, putting in bottle fillers. They really did all of the best practices as fast as they could, in addition to delivering PPE. Here's our high schools. We are currently in great shape at all of our high school campuses. You have to remember that these are large populations of people. These are social groups of people who like to be together. And so we're very proud of these numbers also, because of all of our groups, and we've had the opportunity to work with Baylor and work with UT Health, of all of our groups, this is our group most likely to get and transmit to one another, and we're really not seeing much of that. We're monitoring the community spread. We will continue to do so. When we didn't come to agreement with the county on their system, which by the way is still in red, and so under their system we would not have a single day in school yet. We decided that was not best for students, and you know, there are just parts of the education system that are incredibly important to the community. Something that we don't love to talk about, but it's actually very important, is that we are the #1 group on reporting child abuse. We are the group that works with small children developmentally to learn how to read. That's a positive thing. We like to talk about that one. But there's a lot of reasons why it was very important to us to get our students back on campus. And this helps us monitor, because we would never want to overwhelm our community healthcare partners at Memorial Hermann or HCA. We would never want that. So we're really paying attention to all of that information so that we can be good partners also. I mentioned Baylor and UT. They've given us some really good information. The research is much clearer now than ever before about, you know, where is COVID passed around and what age groups are most affected and what should you look for. And, you know, in short, they told us to focus on people with symptoms. And beyond that, they said, here's just kind of a heat map of things that could cause you issues. And we have seen this play out where we have large numbers of people in small spaces without clean air being constantly purged and brought in. Those have been some more challenging scenarios. So we're really doing a good job on all of our campuses and our athletics and our fine arts, paying attention to this and keeping our students and staff safe. Beyond all of that, you probably remember we have a $575 million bond that passed in 2018, and we have currently 14 major projects going on in the district, and we're so proud of the work that has been done on all of these. And so we want to share some updates and renderings for many of those projects. This is the Atascocita 3rd gym and also classroom addition, 20 additional classrooms that will get rid of the temporary buildings forever, we hope, and also provide our students and staff with some really nice Google-like spaces where they can work together, collaborate, and relax on the campus. Very proud of this. 3rd gyms, which will allow ROTC, dance teams, flag corps, and many other groups to have access to gymnasiums, where in the past those were really largely needed for boys and girls basketball and athletics like that. New elementary multi-purpose rooms. These are exciting. They're moving forward. Group 1 and 2. Group 1 has been bid and Group 2 is bids are about to come in. So we're about to have shovels in the ground for these and move from pavilions to multi-purpose or gym spaces for all of our elementary schools that do not have gyms at this time. This is Lakeland Elementary School and Elementary School 30. What I love about this pairing is this. Our bond was about 2 big things. Growth, that would be Elementary School 30, that will alleviate the growth down on the south side of the district, including growth around Groves, Balmoral Estates, Ridge Creek Elementary, Fall Creek Elementary. Those are all very full campuses. And so growth is about Elementary School 30. Renewal is about Lakeland Elementary School, our oldest elementary school in the district. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm saying is true. And this will be a campus like no other. So proud of the work that we've done on this. It houses a performing arts wheel for that campus where little kids get to experience orchestra, band, choir, theater, dance, mariachi, and really figure out if that's something they'd like to pursue in middle school. It will also house our first ever pod design, where we are actually using the concepts found in children's museums to bring the learning to life as part of the building. The building becomes a central character in the learning process, a place where small children want to learn, grow, play, and develop relationships. This is Middle School 10. It's next to Ridge Creek Elementary School. This is part of growth. This will take the edge off of Wood Creek Middle School and Humble Middle School, both over full, and more growth coming. It is a Westlake Middle School repeat, but we learned a lot with Westlake, and we're learners here, so this will be version 2.0. We're excited about all the upgrades to this campus. This is new Humble High School and Quest, so back to renewal. So as you know, Humble High School is one of our original and our namesake. It was time for that campus to go through a full modernization so that the students at Humble High School have the same learning opportunities as the students at Atascocita High School. The same is true of Quest Early College. One of the highest performing early college high schools in the state of Texas, has never had a home of its own, has always shared a space with someone else, and now for the first time ever will absolutely have a home of its own for the foreseeable future right on Will Clayton Parkway. This is a video I'd like to show. I feel like it really captures the impact that this bond is having on our students, our community, and our culture.
The Charles Bender Performing Arts Center, seen behind me here, is a recent addition to the Humble community. After years of dormancy, it has found new life as a place of entertainment, gatherings, and celebrations for the Humble community. However, it was once part of Humble ISD. It opened as a junior-senior high school in 1930 and served students in grades 5 through 11. Just so you know, Texas didn't add 12th grade until the 1940-41 school year. The building was recognized as an innovative design, partly because it had its own cafeteria, which most schools didn't have at the time. Back in 1930, most students went home for lunch and came back to school. The central feature of the building is the auditorium, which also doubled as the gymnasium. The classrooms are wrapped around the exterior. The band hall was added in 1955 and became the Humble ISD boardroom in 1974, when Bender High School was used as the district's administration building. Now, it has been transformed into the new Humble Museum, which will hold its grand opening on November 14th. The museum details the history of Humble since inception to now. Of course, Humble ISD is a big part of that history. While growth has taken Humble ISD north into Kingwood, east into Atascocita, and south along the Beltway, its roots lie in Humble. And while the growth has necessitated the building of new schools, Humble ISD remains committed to keeping older facilities up to newer standards.
For instance, right here at Charles Street Stadium, where we're doing a major renovation to this historic facility right here in downtown Humble. Now, this facility was actually built in 1942, and it hosted football games, track and field meets, and also high school graduations. Renovations to this historic facility is going to include a new press box, brand new grandstands, and also a brand new field house. Another historic facility in Humble ISD is Lakeland Elementary. First opened in 1960, Lakeland is being relocated right next to Turner Athletic Complex. This new design focuses on a neighborhood concept, which includes pods. These pods facilitate and encourage learning and collaboration outside of the classroom. Since 1995, Quest High School has always shared a space with another campus. Now, its new location on Will Clayton Parkway, Quest Early College High School finally has a place to call its own. Previously, the Career and Technology Center, the new facility will be renovated and expanded to provide a college atmosphere for both students and teachers. Pretty appropriate for an early college high school, right? Another exciting renovation project is Humble High School. Built in 1965, it has had numerous modifications and additions throughout the years, but now we're taking it to the next level. Humble High School is being updated to a modern learning environment where technology, collaboration, and innovation are at the forefront of the education experience. We showed the designs to a student, and his reaction was priceless. Wow, the cafeteria. Oh, yo, look at that. I'm going back to high school. Oh my gosh. Bro, that was like the future. Look at the.
It has our name on it.
I know.
Dude, like, this by far is like the most hype.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so excited to see this in person.
To me, it's like a college campus. You gotta love it.
They definitely outdid themselves this time, I'll tell you that much.
It's nice seeing them, like, remember the old schools and, like, being able to, like, hey, like, yeah, like, we're making all these new schools, but it's nice having them come back and, like, check up on their old schools, like, renovate them.
It's nice seeing that they actually still care.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The facility change and renovation is going to be huge for student culture. I'm most excited about our students seeing this building. After seeing Isaiah look at the photographs and the emotion that brought to me, I look forward to seeing that look on every person's face when they walk into the building, when they pass by the building. It's just gonna build on the rich tradition of Humble High School and Humble ISD in an even greater way.
We are dedicated to keeping the promises we made during the 2018 bond campaign by ensuring that all facilities, new, old, and in between, provide the very best experience possible for years to come.
I hit.
Thank you, Dr. Fagen. Those graphics were amazing, and thank you for your leadership. Your COVID model is, I know, being used all over this state with other ISDs, and that's a tribute to you and Humble ISD. Our next presenter today is our principal of Atascocita High School, Bill Daniels. And even though we can't be in your campus, Bill, we're glad that you're able to join us today, and thank you for making that choir presentation happen. That was a very special treat today. Thank you.
Well, good morning, and you're quite welcome, and thank you for having me. On behalf of the campus, I would first like to thank everyone for supporting the bond issue in 2018. It's already made a huge difference on our campus. We have new weight rooms, new facilities, and in the coming months, we are eagerly anticipating the other huge changes that will result in increased opportunities for our students. Currently, we have a robotics laboratory in a LGI. It's a makeshift place. We have a Cisco classroom that's in a regular classroom. It's not built for that. Our pharmaceutical lab facilities are in pharmaceutical classes are in a portable. But the new building has purpose-built upgrades from what we're normally using. That will make a huge difference. And that's in addition to the 20 regular classrooms. It gives us an opportunity to phase out our portable classes. Not only that, but the way they have designed the new building, it takes kids off of our main street, which is what we call our main hallway is Main Street, and it takes them off of that. Not only that, but the way they built it, it takes up no parking lot space, and it actually puts the entrances closer to the parking lot, so on bad weather days, the kids aren't going to be running in and wet. We've talked about the third gyms, and gyms are used for much more than athletics. People don't realize they're utilized for everything from the fine arts. We've actually used them for testing, and oftentimes the utility of gyms is overlooked if you're not used to a large school logistics. They are much needed and much anticipated. This week, this whole year, we have attempted to do the things we normally would do in different ways. We've already had one pep rally outside, which was before the pep rally. We had a small parade. This week, we're going to have our second pep rally. It's outdoors. It's in our stadium. It's our Pink Out pep rally to support breast cancer awareness. And in the previous pep rally, we had our drone pilots doing live streaming, and people from all across the country were watching. And we're doing the same thing this time. Our drone club pilots are streaming it from the air. It's a unique look at the whole complex and at all of the pep rally. And if you would like to watch the streaming, if you email me, I'll send you the link. I have sent it out to our community. Finally, we had an election in this country on Tuesday. And during the run-up to the election, we had students wearing clothes supporting candidates on both sides of the election. I am most prideful that all of our students, instead of arguing, instead of anything else, they showed mutual respect for each other. They showed mutual respect for the acceptance that everyone can have their own opinion and that everyone has the right to vote and express their opinion. And they disagreed in many cases without being disagreeable. And that is certainly something of which I am very, very proud. So on behalf of Atascocita High School, I want to thank the community once again and encourage everyone to stay safe. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. And being a part of that bond committee, it's just exciting to see what all is happening at your campus. I'm going to take you up on that tour. I want to see what's going on. Thank you so much. And from all of our attendees, our Zoom attendees today, and the staff of the chamber, just thank you, Dr. Fagen and Mr. Daniels and all the teachers for what all you're doing every single day with our students. I know it has not been an easy school year for you. So we thank you for what all you're doing. Before we go on with our next panelist, we're going to have our second co-presenter give us an update today, and that is Jess Fields with Rosewood Funeral Home. Jess.
Hey guys, I am at St. Mary Magdalene Catholic Church. We are doing a funeral service right now, so I apologize that I am walking around outside. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful church. We want to send our appreciation to all of those who participated in the election and who voted, all of our local representatives and officials who do such a wonderful job every day with this community, representing our community. And we want to encourage everybody that if you need anything from Rosewood, we are always here. And we have a beautiful new cremation garden and a cremation chapel that's going to be opening also in the next month or two. We appreciate you all. Have a blessed day, and God bless our country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jess. And we appreciate all that Rosewood Funeral Home does in our community. Thank you for being such a great partner. Our next panelist is the CEO of our partnership, Lake Houston. You maybe have noticed the logo behind me is a little different than what you've seen before. And Jenna Armstrong is going to bring us up to date.
Hey, thank you, Deborah. I'm excited to actually be a speaker. It's something that I don't do too terribly often, but I am excited to share with you guys what we're doing and where we're headed with our organization. And yes, we are now Partnership Lake Houston. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we got there and where we're headed. But first, we have to celebrate Deborah Rose Miller. She is our Atascocita BizCom chair. As you know, this is her last BizCom. She is hanging up her service as Atascocita BizCom chair. We could not talk her into another year, but we could not go without honoring her and saying thank you publicly. We certainly appreciate it. She's been doing this about 1.5 years, and anybody that knows Deborah Rose knows she jumps right into the deep end, and really does a great job and serves this community well. And we have been blessed to have had her for the last 1.5 years. And so thank you, Deborah. We really appreciate you. And I know you're going to kill me after this, but that is okay. So moving right along, so we are now Partnership Lake Houston. So what is Partnership Lake Houston? That is a merger between the Lake Houston Area Chamber of Commerce and Lake Houston Economic Development Partnership. So we officially announced this merger last Thursday, a week ago, on October the 29th. And just wanted to show you a little bit about the history that led to the merge. Now, I'm going to tell you, I did this timeline. I realized the gaps between the dots on the timeline probably don't match up with the years here, so but just bear with me, you get the idea. The Humboldt Chamber was established back in 1923, so we're approaching our 100-year anniversary in a couple of years. So that's pretty phenomenal if you think about it. But we were established right here in the city of Humboldt and have grown over the years. In the 1970s, when Friendswood Development came in and started to create Kingwood, there was discussion on, do we create our own chamber for Kingwood? And the decision was no, we're gonna link up and join and be a part of the Humboldt Chamber. And so they changed and became the Humboldt Area Chamber. And then through the years, of course, Atascocita started to grow. And then in the 2000s, especially the late 2000s, Summerwood and Fall Creek really started on an upward trajectory. And we renamed the organization to the Lake Houston Area Chamber to really try to encompass all of our communities that we serve. In 2012, we officially launched, the Chamber officially launched the Lake Houston Economic Development Partnership. So that was an entity that operated within the Chamber umbrella. We purposely positioned it as a separate organization. However, it did operate under the Chamber's 501c6 Act designation. We kept separate books, and we had separate investors that invested into the Economic Development Partnership. However, they've always officed here at the Chamber office. We've always worked together, and Economic Development employees have always technically been Chamber employees under our organization. So we've worked together very closely, as you've seen over the years, and it's become evident as we've worked and really started working together after the floods of Hurricane Harvey, that it's time that we come out and have that one regional voice and merge to become Partnership Lake Houston. And so that's where we are today with our organization. So I wanted to give a nod to part of the group who created our new logo, which we're really excited about. The group, our branding committee, was led by Ian Adler, and he's with McCord Development. Of course, Nancy Shortsleeve with Logo Stuff, and Corey Turner with McKelvey Media. We also had several board members on there, including Jason Stubbe with the City of Humble, and Sam Schrade that joined on that committee to help develop not only the name Partnership Lake Houston, but the logo. So there's a lot of work that went into this, and just wanted to give them some props, show them some appreciation for the work that they did. So basically, what does the Chamber and the EDP do, and how do the roles cross, or what are the similarities? Why does it make sense to merge? And so basically, the Chamber, we're about business. We provide that support, that assistance. A lot of people don't know we help businesses navigate through permitting, different municipal regulations, different ordinances. We say we help cut that red tape. We also help connect them to different resources, connect them with different businesses. If they need any legal assistance or if they need financing assistance, that's what we do, is help convene and connect businesses together and provide that support and assistance. We're really big on advocacy. So we want to create that pro-business environment where our businesses can grow and flourish. So both are on the local, state, and federal level. We do a lot of work to create that pro-business environment through legislation and regulation. We also do education information services. So this program, BizCom, that you're on right now, that's one of our programs, one of our education information programs that we provide. We always try to provide speakers that are gonna provide information that businesses need to know, that want to know, that's gonna impact their businesses in the community. We need to know about that school growth and the population growth and what the schools are doing. Transportation and mobility, as our area has grown, you know, the traffic on the roads have grown too. So that's something that we work on, is trying to get ahead of those transportation mobility issues, and we advocate and work to try to ease access in and out of our area. And we're convener on local issues. When things pop up that need to be addressed, we get the people in the room together to discuss it and come up with some solutions that we can work. We also focus on community development. We want a strong community. We focus on leadership development through our leadership programs, through our young entrepreneur and professional programs that we do. And we work on flood recovery, as many people are aware. On the EDP side, they're focused on growing and attracting jobs, business retention and expansion, helping the businesses that are here grow and add more jobs, increasing that capital investment in our community, which helps grow the local tax base. And as we all know how our school districts are funded, it's through taxes. And the largest tax base that a school district can get is that commercial tax base. And that is something that Humble ISD needs. It's considered a property poor school district because we have a lot of homes instead of a lot of businesses. So we're trying to focus on growing that tax base to help better fund our school districts. Also, public and private infrastructure and EDP, as you've seen, we've worked hand to hand on our flood recovery efforts. So sharing is caring. We have shared, operationally, we share staff. Anytime that EDP has needed assistance with marketing or admin, anything, all of us work together. We've always worked together. That's never, this is not something new. Probably externally people didn't realize that, but internally we've always done that. We've always shared office space, resources, and we share a lot of member investors. There's a lot of businesses that are investors in both the Chamber and the Economic Development Partnership. And a lot of our strategic direction aligns. We are here to help assist and grow business. We are also here, we want to create that positive pro-business environment. And we want to help our local businesses. EDP wants that pro-business environment because they want to help attract those companies and grow those jobs. that are here in the Lake Houston area. So what does this merger mean? Are we not a chamber anymore? No, we're still a chamber. We're still an economic development organization, but now we're operating as one. And why is that a good thing? It creates that greater synergy for our region. And I talked about this earlier. You know, when we started working together hand in hand on the floods, we saw it firsthand how when we have that consistent message and when we work together as one, how much more we can accomplish. And so it started to really make sense and become evident that we need to work together as one, and that really strengthens our region. We've gotten calls since our announcement from a lot of areas across the Houston region that are like, man, you guys, we want to figure out how y'all did that, because you guys are really positioning your region that y'all work together. And that's what a lot of people like. That's what a lot of businesses like, to know that the community works together. And so this is a great signal for that. Also, it helps us streamline internal operations, and it gives us an opportunity when we streamline things to really expand the services that we offer to our businesses and provide greater value to our businesses. So basically that is it in a nutshell. We are trying to transition everything over, so we ask for a little patience. We've been working on this for about 2 years with plans to launch early this year, but things changed this year for everybody, so we had to postpone that announcement a little bit. And you'll see in 2021, early 2021, we will have a brand new website. We're working on, if you'll notice and follow us on social media, we've changed our logos, and we're still working through and jumping through those Facebook hoops so that the name changes from Lake Houston Area Chamber to Partnership Lake Houston. So that'll be forthcoming. But we are transitioning over, so we don't want anybody to be confused. We're the same two organizations. We're just going to be stronger and more effective than ever. And if anyone has questions about that, just give us a call, shoot us an email. We're more than happy to have a chat and talk to you about how this works and the direction that we're heading. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Jenna. And what Jenna didn't mention is I had this rock star Atascocita BizCom committee that one of them wants to step up to do this, because Jenna has me on so many other things right now to do. So just put a plug in for that, Jenna. But thank you for all that. It's an exciting year, exciting time for our chamber. Our next presenter today is Millie Garrison, and she's representing the Alliance for Nonprofit Alliance that we have. Millie.
Yes, good morning. I'm happy to report, kind of give a quick update from the Nonprofit Roundtable. We meet about 4 times a year. Like everybody else, our schedules have kind of done a 360, and we've moved to try to go from topics within the nonprofit to serving the needs of our community. So what we realized in March, that basic needs were what our area needed as most areas first. So I have put together some numbers, and I think Sam has that slide, just so everybody can kind of get a feel of the food volume that's gone out in the Lake Houston area, as well as the homeless prevention that has gone out in our area. And he's got that graph up there for everyone to kind of go through. Now, it kind of looks funny to me. Does it look funny to y'all? Can everybody hear me? Is it frozen? Is everybody frozen? Are we back? Hello?
Talking, I'll work on it.
Okay. All right, so everybody can hear me. I didn't know if it froze. Okay, so yeah, so like I was saying, we quickly moved to basic needs. And the slide that I had prepared kind of gives you the volume of food that's gone out in the Lake Houston area. From the food pantry to our mobile units, and from our food fairs that have been strategically placed all around the community. And so if you look at the chart, it's about 455,000 pounds of food that has been moved in our community since March, as of late October, right around the middle of October. And then the next piece that is just huge is the individuals that all of those pieces have fed for our area. And that's a 38,000 individuals in our area that we have been feeding through this pandemic. And then there it is. And then, so that goes back to our chart that I was talking about, the pounds of food and our individuals that we've fed. We've also been covering our Meals on Wheels seniors, working with the Humble Senior Citizen Community Center, and Interfaith, our Meals on Wheels. And that ends up at about 27,000 meals that have been provided over the Lake Houston area. And then our unsheltered, we've seen an increase in that, which everybody can probably understand why. And we're working currently with a caseload of about 50 true unsheltered individuals. That means they do not have a home to go into or a car to sleep in. So that number we have seen definitely increase since March. And then up at the top, the homeless prevention, obviously that is our main focus right now with all the layoffs and cutbacks. And with that, we have provided about $1.1 million to try to help people stay housed. And that ends up being about 7,600 individuals. So that's kind of been our main focus for our area. We have great nonprofits in our area that have helped in other ways. We have In the Pink with breast cancer awareness. They have their event, I think, last month. Family Promise, they have held their event, I think, last weekend. And they do a great job with the housing and programming. Family Time, they held their domestic violence candlelight vigil last month. The YMCA has their upcoming Dancing with Partners, and that's this month. And then we have Including Kids. They do all the programming for the autistic children. And that center is open and has remained open. And they're in need of PPE. So if anybody has any extra supplies or contacts, please certainly get in touch with the Autism Center. Village Learning Center, they have their gala supporting their special needs children in housing. And that's coming up this month. And then finally, Humble ISD and HAM have partnered again this year to provide holiday gifts and needs for all of Humble ISD. And so there's flyers out going how you can help with that. So, you know, I just want everybody to know that the nonprofits are working very hard to meet the needs of our community, and that we appreciate all the support and help that you guys give to us. Thank you all.
Thank you, Millie, for the update. And just to add to that, the YMCA Dance for a Cause, your own partnership Lake Houston staff is one of the dancing teams there. So I think we need to make sure we get that video on the website so we can all see what that Broadway line looks like, guys.
Definitely.
They're always supporting the community. Before we introduce our next speaker, we definitely want to focus on our gold sponsors, HEB, Whataburger, and Redemption Square. And at HEB, free curb service, pickup, and $5 delivery is still available through January 1st. So definitely take advantage of that for the Thanksgiving month. And if you saw the parking lot yesterday, you probably wish you had spent the $5. So come visit your friendly local Atascocita HEB for all your grocery needs and see their website for more details. For the Whataburger, when do you get to combine the smoky heat of Hatch green chilies and crispy bacon with 2 fresh 100% beef patties? Well, in the new Hatch green chili bacon burger. The burger has everything Whataburger fans love: double meat, double cheese, crispy bacon, plus the smooth roasted heat of Hatch green chilies, available for a limited time. Definitely have to tell my husband about that one. And our other gold sponsor is, of course, Generation Park. Come enjoy the market at Redemption Square, Saturday, November the 28th from 11 to 3. Mark your calendars. There'll be live music. There'll be a curated selection of artisan vendors offering food, art, jewelry, and everything in between, just in time for the holidays. And if you love murals, you need to see the art walk there at Redemption Square. Learn more at redemptionsquare.com. And our next speaker, are we ready for Captain Medina with Harris County Precinct 4 to bring us an update of what is going on in our community with regard to safety and crime and how to stay safe during these holidays?
Hi,
Captain.
Rose, thank you very much. During the holidays, we usually run a couple of task forces. We concentrate on all the business areas during the Christmas season, and actually our patrol deputies go around vehicles and grade them for their safety, or for if they're trying to keep things from getting stolen. So they go around, look at vehicles, make sure vehicles are locked, making sure they don't have things on their seats, purses, things like that. Also for during New Year's, we do a DWI task force, and obviously try to prevent people from driving drunk and causing accidents and those sorts of things. Pretty much here in Atascocita, we have about 46 deputies and supervisors that patrol 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We run around doing anything and everything that we can take care of. And I really don't have any much more aside from we appreciate y'all's time, and thank you for giving me the time to offer some information.
We appreciate everything you do for us, Captain. What can people do if they're going to be gone for the holidays? What suggestions might you give?
Well, also, ma'am, we do vacation watches. So you just go to our website and put in your information. You can put in there if you're going to have any cars on your driveway, if you're going to leave any lights, if you're going to have, say, your lawn service people come by, or if you actually have a neighbor that's going to come by, so that when our deputies do come by your house, that they see somebody there, that once we identify them, their name will be on the information you provided. So we do that for everybody in the community during when they go off on a vacation.
And do you have any tips for our small businesses to keep things safe during this time right now, or especially during the holidays?
Well, just be alert, pay attention to people. If you see something suspicious, please call immediately. Don't wait 5, 10, 15 minutes for either the person to walk away, or for them to just have an opportunity to do something they shouldn't be doing. Just give us a call anytime you see something that doesn't look right, and we'll be there to take care of it.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate everything you do for us to keep us safe. Our next presenter today is Mark Mitchell. Mark is the Chief Economic Development Officer at the Partnership Lake Houston. Going to give us an update. Mark.
All right, Deborah, thank you very much. And I also want to thank the Board of Directors of the Chamber, the Advisory Board for the Development Partnership, as well as Jenna. The process we went through over the last couple of years in terms of the merger showed some vision, but in Jenna's timeline, it showed that the Humboldt Chamber, as it evolved, had a pretty significant vision as well. So just want to say thank you to that group and Jenna in terms of us being able to move forward with that. So with that said, I'm going to actually share my screen right now, or hopefully attempt to share my screen. And we're going to talk about a survey that the community, business community participated in back in August. And don't know if you can see it yet or not. Can you guys see my screen? Thumbs up, Deborah, maybe? Let's try again.
Just you.
All right, just me. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So a little bit of backdrop behind this is we've been in partnership with Corpus Christi for a little over 3 years now, and that was all hence Hurricane Harvey. Our kind of tentacles extended out pretty far in terms of collaboration, partnership, data sharing. And so over the years, we've partnered on various initiatives with Corpus Christi, and they invited us to participate in this business survey that they had been working on for the past several months since the initiation or since COVID started. And so they reached out to us and said, look, we'd like to have a bigger footprint. We'd like to have a different profile of communities, and we'd like your region to participate. And so that's how we got involved with this survey as you're looking at it. And Dr. Lee, who is an economics professor at Texas A&M Corpus Christi campus, is really the lead surveyor. And so he actually compiled these communities and all this data. And so if you look at the lower left-hand portion of the screen, you'll see all the communities that participated. It was not only the Lake Houston area, but we partnered with Alice, Austin, Corpus Christi, Dallas, Denton, Fort Worth, and you can see the fairly long list: Sugar Land, Round Rock, Rockport, Fulton. And so this was really designed to get the pulse of businesses 3 months after the state reopened. And so we wanted to be able to kind of do a comparative analysis of how things were during the pandemic with everything shut down, and then how businesses were faring 3 months after the state had reopened. Now, the issue we got right now is that it looks like there's a third wave that's taking place. Fortunately for us, the Houston region is on the rebound, and we're being less impacted than some of the other states out there. So we're still very optimistic about our area and the resiliency that we've kind of exhibited here over the past several months in terms of just our area, and in particular, the Lake Houston area. And Dr. Fagen, I want to applaud you for what you've been able to do, not only with the creation of the dashboard and the metrics, also with how you guys are managing the interaction with the air exchange systems and everything else, keeping track of how individuals are infected. And so I think that is a demonstration of how the Lake Houston area as a whole has responded to the pandemic, and that's why we're pretty bullish in terms of pushing forward. And so we'll look at the second page in terms of kind of what the overall survey consisted of. So as you're looking at it right now, this is the aggregate data for all 800 companies that actually responded to this survey. We actually had 60 companies respond that actually gave their business information, and we had another 40 companies respond anonymously, but they fell within our 6 zip codes. And based on what Dr. Lee had told us at A&M, that's a good sample size for us to be able to reflect on what we've done well and what we need to work on. So the screen that you're looking at right now is really broken up into 4 sections. You'll see operations, workforce, stimulus, and then business outlook. And so again, as you look at the operations, you'll see that business status, most of the businesses are around 80% participation in terms of capacity. And that's an example of if they typically have capacity for 100, they're actually serving about 80 people now in terms of just their overall business. It demonstrates the remote workforce, the domestic supply chain, and other data as we push forward. It also looks at the workforce and whether there was a change to their workforce, whether they're anticipating new hires, what the layoffs look like. And we also have kind of a prognostication of what the businesses think is going to happen in terms of their staffing. So we got 13% that are saying they're thinking they're going to see a reduction in staff in the next 3 months, and then 12% over the next 6 months, or over the next 6 months. The stimulus package is really interesting. I mean, there were 2 particular programs that the SBA provided for small businesses. It was the EIDL loans and it was the PPP program. And by far, the PPP program was what was most fertile out in the community. And that's where we actually partnered with Standard Accounting Firm and Plain State Bank. We did multiple seminars, both helping companies understand how they can apply, and then also how they go through the forgiveness process on the backside, kind of pushing forward. So, and the last thing we looked at was really the outlook. What was the positive perspective of the businesses, and then what were some of the things that were kind of obstacle or stopping point for them in terms of being able to re-engage back in the community with their customers and being able to push forward and open their businesses. So the overall grand scheme is what this looked like. And then I'll scroll through these and I'll scroll back, and you can see Frisco's data, Lake Houston data, City of Sugar Land, Victoria, the Coastal Bend area as a group, much like our 6 zip codes. And then we've got some other extraneous data that kind of shows capacity and what have you in terms of what took place. But what's really interesting is our area. And what you're seeing right now is essentially our data specific to the 100 businesses that participated in the online survey. So as we look at operations, we see that we're 3 percentage points above the aggregate data for all of Texas in terms of average capacity. One thing that was really interesting to us is that the business disruptions, when you look at the aggregate data on average, their number was only 47%, but our number was 54%. So that was 7 points higher than that aggregate of the other 700 businesses that participated in that. And so we've got to look at that in terms of what that meant and who was impacted from that supply chain perspective. As we look at the enforcement of protocols, actually, for masks for employees, we actually did a few percentage points better. Masks for customers, we actually did a few percentage points better. And then we actually suffered a couple of percentage points in terms of taking temperatures and then site signage, letting people know that, hey, you have to wear a mask, or we do temperatures and things of that nature in terms of their engagement with their customer base. Now, as we look at workforce, one of the things that was really interesting is that in the aggregate data, essentially 48% of the businesses said they had no change in their workforce. Within the Lake Houston area, we actually had 40% that had no change, which meant 60% did have a change. Now, you compare that to the fact that we actually had 25% of the businesses saying they were planning on doing additional hires. That was an interesting dynamic in terms of that juxtaposition. The other thing that was really interesting, too, for us is that under staff reductions, we were 6 percentage points higher than the aggregate data on both the 3-month average, and then we were 4 percentage points higher on the 6 months data. So we've really got to look at that information and kind of figure out what's going on there, because if we've got 60% of our businesses saying they had no change impact to their workforce, but we also have 6 percentage points above staff reductions, we've got to figure out kind of what's going on there in terms of our business situation in total. Next thing is the stimulus package. The earlier data, companies averaged about $50,000 in terms of that stimulus benefit, either through the EIDL loan program or through the PPP. One of the things that was surprising to us is our average dollar amount disbursement was only $42,000. So that's $8,000 less than what we saw in terms of the aggregate out there. And so we're not sure if that's because our businesses were a little bit smaller or there was less need in the aggregate in terms of what they were applying for. But that's something we've been able to kind of start digging into with Dr. Lee down at Texas A&M at Corpus Christi. The other thing is that, again, it's kind of surprising in terms of the workforce data. We were 12 percentage points higher on retained employees. So the state aggregate, or at least the 800 other companies, they essentially acknowledged 27% retained employees. But here in the Lake Houston area, we essentially were 12 points higher than that in terms of us being able to kind of keep those employees on board. The really nice thing about this is Community Impact did 2 stories on this survey. They did a single story with myself and Dr. Lee, kind of responding to some of the information. And Dr. Lee responded back as he looked at the data comparatively across those different communities. Our area is actually more resilient when it should be less resilient. We've got more of a retail component to our overall community, but we actually fared better in several different scenarios in terms of employment, in terms of job retention. And so one of the things that he talked about was just our resiliency, the fact that we had probably experienced multiple disasters before, and we were better prepared to kind of go out into the community and do outreach with our businesses and find out what they needed in terms of pushing forward. So as we look forward, the last section you'll see is kind of community and business outlook. And we actually had better outlook numbers on average than the rest of the state did, at least in terms of those 800 other businesses. And so we're very positive about where we're at. We're hopeful that we can kind of maintain the direction and what we've been doing from an implementation perspective in our response to COVID-19. Coming into our office, there's a mask requirement. Even as we did the event last week with the axe throwing and the cornhole, we were very ecstatic about the fact that we had a very high mask compliance rate. Even though we were outside and social distance, we had 85 to 95% of our people that maintained their wearing of the mask during that whole time. So we were really bullish on that in terms of why we've seen low infection rates on the northeast side of town. And we're hoping that that continues forward as we see this kind of third wave surging forward. And I'll make this presentation available. Carol, I'll get this to you so you can send this out to the group. But it's very interesting information, and it shows a lot about our area and its resiliency. And we're just kind of proud of how the businesses have responded. And we'll look for any questions after the fact. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. And thanks for making that slideshow available, because I know there's a lot of detailed information that people are wanting on that. So I know we're running over, and we always stay right on time at Atascocita BizCom, but let's face it, you're sitting at your house or your office anyway, so you're probably multitasking as it is. So give me 5 more minutes and we'll wrap up, because like Jenna said, what are you gonna do? You can't fire me, it's too late. So just bear with me here, and we're gonna want to make sure that we recognize our sponsors, and then I really want Pastor Mike with the Atascocita Methodist Church to close us out in prayer for the upcoming holidays. So, final thank you to our sponsors. Presenting sponsors, of course, Memorial Herman Northeast and Rosewood Funeral Home. We could not do this without you. Our gold sponsors, HEB Atascocita, McCord Development, Generation Park, and Redemption Square, and the Whataburger restaurants. Our silver sponsors are Frost Bank, which, by the way, they are having a drive-through grand opening on November the 13th. So start your morning off with cinnamon rolls and coffee as you drive through Frost Bank there on the 13th. We thank K&S Sportswear as a silver sponsor, and of course Rose Realty, and especially DNA Studios for allowing us to be able to do this so professionally and make it easier for you to view all this. Just one final note before we bring Pastor Mike up. Thank you for joining us today. Our next BizCom is going to be at the Kingwood BizCom, which will be virtual, of course, Thursday, December the 3rd. Summer Creek BizCom, virtual, December the 10th. And if you have not already done so, be sure and go on to the Chamber website and register for the virtual salute to small businesses on November the 19th. Bob Charlotte, publisher of the Houston Business Journal, will be our speaker, and he will be discussing the current business climate, trends in the Houston area, and the important role that small businesses play in the economic recovery and other highlights. So you don't want to miss that. And finally, we want to thank all of our sponsors and attendees to last week's party on the screen. It was a great success, lots of fun. Congratulations to our reigning champs, the First Financial Bank, obviously a full service bankers, because they won both the cornhole and axe throwing championship. So don't mess with those bankers over there. And DNA, again, thank you. And with that, I'd love to bring up Pastor Mike. He is the new senior pastor at Atascocita Methodist Church.
Hi, it's nice to be with you all. Clearly, I'm lacking on Zoom skills. I don't understand the difference between attendee and panelist. So my apologies for having come late to the party. Let's pray. Gracious God, we give thanks to you for all that you have blessed us with and blessed our community with. And Father, we thank you for all those who are involved in our community and feeding the poor and helping to grow our community economically. Father, we just ask that your peace would come across our community and our nation. And Father, frankly, we ask that you would help the adults be more like the students at Atascocita High School and respect each other's ability to have different opinions and vote for different people, but still be together. And Father, we ask that you would, where we find the hungry, that you would let us feed them. We ask that you would bless our community with prosperity and hospitality. And we just ask that you would just pour out your blessings upon this community and our nation, that we may be a beacon of your love and grace for the world to see. We pray this in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Mike. You all have safe and blessed holidays. It's a wrap, guys. Have a great day.